brewing today. GyanDhan, India's first education loan marketplace, has raised 50 crore rupees in a Series A funding from Class Plus and Pravega Ventures. Founded by IIT alumni, the company plans to expand its footprint across 50-plus Tier 2 and 3 cities, double its lending partners, and scale a network of education consultants to drive loan originations worth 18,000 crore rupees over the next 3 years. As the company ramps up operations and strengthens its NBFC play, how is GyanDhan planning to grow its revenue streams in the next phase of expansion? Joining me now to discuss this further is Ankit Mehra, the co-founder and CEO of GyanDhan. Ankit, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. You know, the education loan penetration in India is still about under 20%, right? So it's a very small amount of the market. What are the main barriers preventing wider adoption, and what are you doing at GyanDhan to sort of address these issues? If you could take us through your offerings.
Thanks a lot for talking about the relative under-penetration of education loans in the Indian market. I think that is the problem we set out to solve almost 10 years back, and that is the journey we are on. So first of all, to address what are the barriers. To begin with, there is a lack of clarity on what the right products exist of. If I talk from a lender's perspective, lenders don't have an idea of who to lend to. So if a student is going for a course outside India or even within India, they don't know the employability of that particular course. Given that they don't know the employability and the future outcomes, they then have to rely on the parental income to be able to give out loans. As a result, historically, most of the lending, especially in the study abroad market, has been backed by properties.
Sure.
What we want to solve for is, can we predict future employability of students? If we can predict future employability of students, we have a way to basically give out unsecured loans or semi-secured loans on the basis of the potential of the students. That's the first thing that we want to address.
Sure.
The aspect is really trying to solve the entire process, because right now the process is quite broken. I mean, I've interacted with parents of HNI clientele who basically don't want to take a loan because of the hassles. Right. So we want to solve the hassle, simplify the process, make it as painless as a personal loan that you get from a digital app. That is really what we want to solve for when it comes to
Absolutely. And you know, you've raised this 50 crore rupees. If you could quickly tell us how you hope to expand your presence in Tier 2 and 3 cities using this fundraise, and how you're tailoring your approach to address the specific needs of students and families in these regions. If you could take us through, the other sectors you're looking to tap into as well.
Sure. So, as you mentioned, we are looking to use these funds to really expand our footprint in the Tier 2 cities. So, what we realize is there's a lot of lack of information in these cities. So, what we want to have is our presence, feet on street, on the ground, work with our consulting partners to be able to provide a platform where students can come and the parents can come and get their queries answered. They'll have a clarity on what the really process entails. They will have a way to simplify the loan application. So for example, we work with lenders wherein we act as the customer-facing interface for the lender. So the student doesn't really have to go and interact with the lender 10 times. The student can actually go through a tech-driven process and get the entire list of documentation at one go. They get even the hand-holding in cases where they're not as digitally savvy as someone else. So these funds will really be used for us. One is to improve our technology, but also to expand our footprint, whereby we'll be able to touch more students in different geographies.
Sure. And if you could sort of, take us through the current loan book, you have partnerships as well as your own NBFC, right? So how do you plan to grow this further? What's the target, and what about NPAs?
Sure. So as far as the loan book is concerned, so to begin with, from a marketplace perspective, as you mentioned, we work with over 15 lenders, both domestic and international lenders. And our belief is that there is a lot of work we can do working with our existing lending partners and onboarding new partners to expand the footprint. What we intend to do essentially is kind of work with more lending partners and increase our loan book. To give you a context, we've done 7,000 crores since inception. The last year we did roughly 2,000 crores in loan origination. And over the next 3 years, we have a target to reach out to 18,000 crores in loans as far as the study abroad sector is concerned.
Sure.
In perspective, last year we helped roughly 5,000 students secure loans for studies abroad. Coming to the domestic market, that's the segment that we are operating through our NBFC, and that's the segment where we are doing skill development loans, and we continue to do so.
Sure. And if you could take us through the kind of revenues that you're clocking and where do you hope to end this year? Where will the next leg of growth come from? You're looking at new sectors to expand into?
Yeah. So I think we don't really need to look at new sectors per se for now. because like you said in your introduction, there is only 20% penetration. So and if you look at different segments, the penetration is actually as low as 5 to 7%. So for us, the key thing is we have to take that penetration as high as 45%. And that is really the key growth area that we want to focus on. We don't want to kind of diversify and add on 10 different divisions and kind of dilute our focus. There will be certain areas where we will expand depending on the customer needs, but very clearly our focus for the foreseeable future is really how do we simplify the process? How do we expand the reach so that every student who is targeting higher education knows that there is something that can help them secure financing. They don't have to worry about financing. GyanDhan will be there to help them secure the right financing for their needs.
Right. And you know, with the current macroeconomic headwinds and visa uncertainties affecting overseas education, how is GyanDhan sort of pivoting or diversifying its offerings?
Sure. So, like you mentioned, there is definitely a relatively slowdown in this market with the visa uncertainties and different geopolitical uncertainties. We actually feel this is more of a temporary stance, and some of this will ease out in the due course of time. If you look at it, there is demand side as well as supply side things in favor of this market. So we are again squarely focused on ensuring that as the market eases up, we help increase penetration. And we are really starting out. So for us really at this point in time, even with the slowdown in the geopolitical the macroeconomic scenario, that really doesn't affect our growth plans per se.
Absolutely.
There are other segments we are actively pursuing. Like I said, the skill development segment. We are working right now with the Government of India's Skill Development Loan Program, and we are looking to see how we can make a meaningful dent in terms of skilling up India.
Sure.